Have you ever noticed how people only realize what they had when it's already slipping away? How someone can take your love, your time, your energy, and treat it like it will always be there, until one day it's not. He thought you would always be an option. He thought he could walk away, take you for granted, ignore what you gave, and that somehow you would still be there, waiting, hoping, wanting him back. But now the script is about to flip, because the moment you stop chasing, the moment you stop proving, the moment you take back your power, he will feel it. And when that moment comes, he won't just want you back, he will beg for you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears." Right now, it might feel like he won, like he walked away and never looked back, like everything you gave was wasted. But listen carefully, he didn't win. He simply doesn't realize yet that he's on the losing side. And when he does, the regret will hit him harder than anything you could ever say, because a man never truly values what he had until he realizes he can't have it anymore. Right now, he believes he's in control. He thinks you're still emotionally tied to him. He assumes you're still waiting for a message, still checking his social media, still hoping for a sign that he's thinking about you. But he doesn't know that something is about to change. That the moment you shift your energy, the moment you step into your power, is the moment the tables turn. Because when you stop chasing, he starts wondering. When you go silent, he starts listening. When you move on, he starts looking back. And when you become the woman who no longer waits, that's when he realizes he made the biggest mistake of his life. Think of fire. A fire burns the brightest when it is fueled, but when neglected, it dims, weakens, and eventually fades into ashes. That was your love for him. You gave him warmth, passion, devotion, something real. And he let the fire die. But here's what he doesn't know. Fire doesn't just disappear. It transforms. It rises again, stronger, untouchable, beyond anyone's reach. And now, you are not a small flame waiting to be reignited. You are a wildfire, a force that cannot be contained. And the moment he realizes this, the moment he sees the woman he once had standing in her full power, he will wish he had never let you go. He thought he could replace you. He thought he could find another you. But what he doesn't understand yet is that women like you do not come twice. A woman with your heart, your depth, your loyalty, that is not something a man can just find again. And as the days pass, as the newness of his choices wears off, as he starts comparing, as he starts remembering, the truth will hit him like a storm. She will never be you. And that will be the regret he will carry for the rest of his life. But here's what I need you to understand. This is not about revenge. This is not about playing games or trying to make him jealous. This is about stepping into the power you forgot you had. This is about realizing that you were never the one who needed to be chosen. You were always the prize. And the moment you embody that, the moment you stop proving, stop begging, stop waiting, everything changes. Because a queen does not chase. A queen does not ask to be valued. A queen does not sit in the shadows, hoping that a man finally sees what he had all along. Look in the mirror. That is not a woman who needs to be validated by his attention. That is not a woman who waits for his regret. That is not a woman who needs him to see her worth in order to know it for herself. That is a force. That is power. That is the woman he will never be able to replace. And when he finally realizes it, when he finally understands what he lost, he will do the one thing he never thought he would have to do. He will beg. But by then, You won't need him anymore, because the moment you become the woman who does not wait, who does not chase, who does not lower herself for anyone, is the moment you rise into the woman you were always meant to be. The one who reigns. The one who commands presence. The one who no longer asks for love, because she is love itself. And that is the lesson he will never forget. Queens, write this in the comments and claim it. I do not beg. I do not chase. I reign. Let the world know that from this moment on, you are no longer waiting for a man to realize your worth, because the one who truly deserves you will never need to be reminded. And if this message awakened something inside you, if it reminded you of the fire that has always been within you, like this video and subscribe, because we are here, building an empire of unstoppable women and queens. We rise together. Number 1. He feels your absence louder than your presence. Have you ever noticed how silence can be louder than words? How the absence of something can feel heavier than its presence? He didn't notice the way you loved him when you were there. He didn't appreciate your effort, your kindness, your loyalty. He believed that no matter what, you would always be around, always available, always waiting. But now, the space you once filled is empty, and that emptiness is suffocating him. At first, he felt free. He thought walking away meant leaving the past behind, moving on to something new, something exciting. But what he didn't understand was that real love is not something you replace. Real love leaves a mark, a presence so strong that even when it's gone, it lingers. And now he feels your absence in every quiet moment, in every unanswered message, in every space where your presence once lived. A wise man once said, "You don't know the value of water until the well runs dry." And that's exactly what has happened. He drank from your love without ever thinking it would end. He believed the well would never run dry. But now, as he reaches for something that is no longer there, he is drowning in the regret of what he let go. He underestimated you. He assumed you would always be there, waiting for him to come back, to change his mind, to suddenly realize your worth. But what he never expected was this: you didn't beg, you didn't chase, you simply disappeared. And that, queens, is the most powerful move you could ever make, because nothing shakes a man more than realizing the woman he once had is now the woman he can never reach again. Think of the sun. The sun doesn't beg anyone to stay. It doesn't chase those who walk away from its warmth. It simply shines. And those who turn their backs on it, they are the ones who find themselves lost in the cold, in the darkness, wishing they had appreciated its light while they still had it. That is exactly what is happening now. He thought he could leave without consequence, but now he is standing in the cold, realizing that what he had with you was irreplaceable. The most painful lesson a man can ever learn is not through words, not through arguments, not through desperate attempts to prove a point. It is through absence. The moment you stopped trying, the moment you stopped explaining, the moment you stepped back and focused on yourself, the weight of his own choices started pressing down on him. Right now, he may not say it out loud. He may not admit that he feels the loss, but he does. He sees the difference. He feels the void. And he's starting to realize that no matter how many distractions he surrounds himself with, there's only one thing that will ever make him feel whole again: you. But here's the truth, queens. He lost his chance. Because you are not the same woman he left. You are not sitting in the shadows, waiting for him to return. You are rising. You are evolving. You are stepping into the version of yourself that no longer needs his validation. And the more he sees this, the more he feels the shift. the more he realizes that the woman he once took for granted is now the woman he cannot reach. He will try to ignore it. He will tell himself that he made the right choice. But every time he looks for something familiar, something comforting, something real, he will find nothing. And that is the moment he will regret everything. This is not about making him suffer. This is not about revenge. This is about stepping into your power. Because queens, a woman who knows her worth does not beg. A woman who understands her value does not lower herself for a man who was too blind to see it. And now you hold the power. Let him feel your absence. Let him sit in the silence of his own choices. Let him watch you from a distance, realizing that the door he once walked out of is now locked forever. And when he finally understands what he lost, it will be too late. Queens, write this affirmation in the comments and claim it. My absence speaks louder than his presence ever could. Let the world know that you are done waiting, done proving, done fighting for a man who didn't see your worth. And if this message awakened something inside you, if it reminded you of the power that has always been within you, like this video and subscribe. We are here, building an empire of unstoppable women. And queens, we rise together. Number 2, he sees you rising while he stays the same. Have you ever seen a man who once had everything only to watch it slip through his fingers? He thought you would stay the same. He believed you would always be right where he left you, frozen in time, waiting, hoping, longing for him to return. But now he sees something he never expected. He stayed the same while you kept rising. And that is the moment he realizes he lost something he will never get back. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." And while you were outgrowing the pain, building yourself back up, becoming stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable, he was standing still, wasting time, thinking he had control. He believed walking away meant power. He thought leaving you behind made him the winner. But now he sees that the real power was never in leaving. It was in rising. And while he looks back, hoping to find the woman who once waited for him, he only sees the back of a woman walking towards something greater. Think of a staircase. Each step you take, each time you choose yourself, each time you heal, you climb higher. At first, he doesn't notice. He believes you're still standing at the bottom, still in the same place where he left you. But as time passes, as you take step after step, as you start glowing, thriving, becoming untouchable, he looks up and suddenly you are out of reach. He reaches for you, but you are too far ahead. He tries to climb, but the steps he ignored have now become mountains he cannot cross. He never thought you would change. He thought time would stand still for him, that you would always be an option he could return to when he was ready. But now he realizes that while he was searching for distractions, wasting time, believing he had endless chances, you were evolving. You became the woman he always underestimated. You became the woman he now fears losing forever. At first, he convinces himself it doesn't matter. He tells himself that he can find someone else, that he doesn't need you. But then, he sees you. Maybe he hears your name in conversations. Maybe he catches a glimpse of your success. Maybe he stumbles upon a picture of you looking happier, stronger, more radiant than ever before. And in that moment, something inside him shifts. The confidence he once had, the control he believed he held, it all crumbles. Because now, he sees what he was blind to before. He lost not just a woman, but an entire future. Queens, listen carefully. You are not the same woman he left. You are not standing in the shadows, waiting for his attention. You are standing in your power, stepping into your greatness, becoming the version of yourself that was always meant to shine. And when he finally realizes what he lost, it will be too late, because the woman he wants back no longer exists. He will try to reach you. He will try to find a way back. But when he does, he won't find the woman who once needed his validation. He will find a woman who has learned that she was never the one who needed to be chosen. She was always the prize. And nothing will haunt him more than that realization. This is your moment. The moment where you rise so high that he has no choice but to look up and regret. The moment where you stop waiting, stop proving, stop explaining, because your power does not need words. It speaks for itself. He will remember you. He will compare every woman to you. He will search for you in places where you no longer exist. But you will be too busy living a life so full, so extraordinary, that he becomes nothing more than a lesson you once learned. Queens, write this in the comments and claim it. I rise while he stays the same. Let the world know that you are done waiting, done proving, done chasing. And if this message awakened something inside you, if it reminded you of the fire that has always been within you, like this video and subscribe. Because we are here, building an empire of unstoppable women and queens, we rise together. Number 3. He feels the cold where your fire once burned. Have you ever noticed how a man never truly values warmth until he's standing in the cold? When he had you, he felt secure. He never had to question your love, your presence, or your devotion. It was always there, like the steady glow of a fire on a winter night. But now he feels the emptiness, the chill of a world where your warmth no longer reaches him. He thought he could replace you, that he could find the same fire somewhere else. But what he doesn't know yet is this: once a fire goes out, no amount of regret can bring it back. Right now, he may be acting like he's fine, like walking away from you was the right choice. But deep down, something is shifting. He's starting to notice the difference. The warmth that once surrounded him is gone. And no matter how hard he tries to ignore it, he feels the cold creeping in. Because the kind of love you gave was rare. It wasn't just words, it was action. It wasn't just affection, it was deep, unwavering devotion. And now that it's gone, nothing else feels the same. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And right now, he is beginning to suffer, not because you are gone, but because of what your absence represents. When he looks at his life now, when he looks at the arms he replaced you with, when he listens to words that lack the depth of yours, he realizes something is missing. He may not say it out loud, he may not even admit it to himself yet, but it's there. The growing, aching void where your fire once burned. Think of a man stranded in the middle of winter. At first, he doesn't notice the cold. He is distracted, moving forward, thinking he will find warmth elsewhere. But the longer he walks, the deeper the cold seeps into his bones. He starts shivering, longing for the heat he once felt, desperate to escape the chill. That is exactly what is happening to him now. At first, he didn't feel the loss. But now, it's undeniable. He thought love was something easy to replace. He believed he could trade depth for excitement, stability for something new. But now, as time moves forward, he starts to compare. The way you loved him, the way you understood him, the way you made him feel. He searches for it in her, but he doesn't find it. Because love like yours doesn't happen twice. And once a man realizes he walked away from something irreplaceable, the regret is permanent. But queens, this is where everything changes. This is not the moment where you turn back. This is not the moment where you wait for him to wake up and chase after you. This is the moment where you rise. This is the moment where you step into the power that was always inside you. Because the fire he lost, it is not his to reclaim. The warmth he once felt, it is now reserved for a world that truly deserves it. And the more you focus on yourself, the more you build, the more you grow, the deeper the cold will settle into his bones. He will try to deny it. He will try to convince himself that he is happy. But one day, when he least expects it, he will feel it. The loneliness that comes from knowing he made the wrong choice. He will think back to the nights you stayed up listening to his dreams, the way you believed in him even when he doubted himself, the way your love made him feel invincible, and he will know that no one else will ever love him the way you did. But by then, you will no longer be waiting. You will no longer be hoping, because you will have become something untouchable, something unshakable, something he can only watch from afar, and that will be the moment he begs. Not because you asked him to, not because you played games, but because he finally understands what he lost and what he can never have again. 4. He compares every woman to you, and they all fall short. Have you ever seen a man search for something he once had but didn't appreciate? He looks for it in every conversation, every touch, every moment. But no matter where he turns, he can't find it. He thought it would be easy to move on. He thought love was replaceable, that the connection he had with you could be found in someone else. But now every woman he meets is just a reminder of what he lost. He compares, he searches, he hopes. But no one can match the love, the depth, the fire that once came so effortlessly from you. And that is a regret he will carry forever. Seneca once said, "What was hard to endure is sweet to remember." Right now, he may not say it out loud, but in the quiet moments, he remembers. He remembers the way you looked at him when you believed in him. He remembers the way you stood by him when no one else did. He remembers the way your love made him feel like the best version of himself. And now, he feels the difference. He thought he could trade you for something new, something different, something easier. But love is not something a man can simply replace. Love like yours does not come twice. At first, he convinced himself he had moved on. He thought he had found someone else to take your place. But love doesn't work that way. It's not about finding someone else. It's about feeling something real. And no matter how much he tries, no matter how many hands he holds, he will never feel what he felt with you. He will sit across from her, trying to ignore the fact that her laughter doesn't sound like yours, that her words don't carry the same depth, that her love doesn't make him feel the way yours did. Imagine a man who once held a diamond but mistook it for glass. He didn't know its worth, didn't protect it, didn't cherish it, and one day he let it slip through his fingers, believing he could find another. But as time passes, he starts to notice the difference. He holds other stones, thinking they might shine the same way, but nothing compares. He polishes them, examines them under the light, tries to convince himself that he made the right choice. But deep down, he knows the truth. He lost something rare, something priceless, something he will never hold again. That is exactly what is happening to him. He might not say it out loud, but he feels it. Every time he looks at her, he searches for something familiar. He waits for the same fire, the same devotion, the same presence that you once gave so freely. but it's not there. And the more he searches, the more he realizes he let go of something irreplaceable. But here's the part that matters most. This isn't about him anymore. This is about you. Because while he is busy searching for you in others, you are rising. You are no longer the woman who waits, the woman who questions her worth, the woman who hopes he will realize his mistake. You are the woman who no longer looks back. And when he finally wakes up, when he finally reaches for the love he once had, he will find nothing but the empty space where you used to be. Queens, he had his chance. He had something most men search a lifetime for, and instead of holding on to it, instead of valuing it, he let it go. Now, he is left with a choice. Continue searching for you in every woman he meets, or face the truth that he lost the only one who ever truly saw him. But you are done waiting. This is your moment. The moment you rise, the moment you stop proving, stop chasing, stop hoping for a man to realize what you already know. Your worth is not up for debate. The love you gave was rare, powerful, unforgettable. And now, you turn that love inward. You build yourself so high, so strong, so untouchable, that when he finally sees you again, all he will feel is regret. Number 5. He regrets the day he took you for granted. Have you ever noticed how people only realize what they had when it's gone? How he took your love, your time, your presence, and treated it like it would always be there, until one day it wasn't. He thought you would always be waiting, always available, always ready to forgive, until the moment you decided you were done being an afterthought. And now, the regret is setting in. The memories are creeping back. The weight of his own choices is pressing down on him. Because a man who takes a good woman for granted will always come to the same painful realization. He lost something he will never get back. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He thought he was in control. He thought he could walk away, find another, move on without consequences. But what he never understood is this: love is not guaranteed, respect is not permanent, and a woman who knows her worth will not wait forever. At first, he felt nothing. Maybe he even felt relieved, convinced that he made the right choice. He believed he could replace you, that another woman could fill the space you left behind. But as the days passed, as the distractions faded, he started to feel the emptiness. The messages from you stopped coming. The warmth you brought into his life disappeared. The support, the love, the deep connection, it was all gone. And in its place, silence, cold, regret. Think of a man standing in a storm, holding an umbrella, completely protected. He never thinks about the umbrella. He just assumes it will always be there when he needs it. But one day, when the storm rages the hardest, he reaches for it and realizes it's gone. The very thing that kept him safe, that shielded him from the worst of life, is no longer his to hold. And now, he is left standing in the rain, exposed, wishing he had never taken it for granted. That is exactly what is happening now. He thought he could find another version of you, but what he is learning, what he is feeling in every quiet moment, is that you were not just another woman. You were once in a lifetime. And now when he looks at her, when he compares, when he tries to convince himself that he's fine, he knows he made a mistake. Because no matter where he goes, no matter who he is with, he will never find another you. At night, he remembers. He replays the conversations, the laughter, the way your presence felt like home. He thinks about the moments when he should have chosen you, when he should have appreciated you, when he should have fought at her. But now, all he can do is regret. Because you have changed, you have risen. You are no longer the woman who would take him back so easily. You have stepped into your power, and he knows it. This is the shift. This is the moment where everything changes. Not for him, but for you. Because a woman who has been taken for granted, a woman who has felt the sting of being unappreciated, when she finally realizes her worth, she becomes unstoppable. And queens, that is exactly what you are. No longer waiting, no longer questioning, no longer settling. You are rising and he is watching, helpless, full of regret, knowing he will never have another chance. But this is not about revenge. This is not about proving anything to him. This is about choosing yourself. You were never meant to beg for love. You were never meant to fight for someone who should have known your worth from the start. And now you walk away with your head high, knowing that the deepest regret he will ever feel is the day he took you for granted. Number 6. He watches you become the woman he can no longer have. Have you ever seen a man's eyes when he realizes he lost something he will never have again? That moment when it finally hits him, when the weight of his choices crashes down, and he understands that the woman who once loved him is no longer his to claim. He thought he could leave and come back whenever he wanted. He thought you would always be there, waiting, hoping, wishing for another chance. But now he watches from a distance, knowing that the woman he once took for granted is gone forever. Seneca once said, "A man who does not value what he has will one day be forced to see its true worth in the hands of another." That is exactly what is happening. He didn't appreciate you when you were his. He thought he could walk away, that he could find another you, that you were replaceable. But now, he is starting to see what he was too blind to realize before. There is no other you. He thought time would erase you from his mind, that distractions would make him forget. But instead, time is making your absence stronger. He sees you now, thriving, glowing, becoming a version of yourself he never believed possible. And it's killing him. Because this time, no amount of words, no amount of regret, no amount of "I miss you" will be enough to bring you back. Think of a butterfly. At first it is just a cocoon, still, quiet, unnoticed. But then it transforms. It breaks free, spreads its wings, and rises into something breathtaking. That is you. You are no longer the woman who once begged for his attention, the woman who accepted less than she deserved, the woman who stayed in the background waiting to be chosen. You have become the woman he can no longer reach. He assumed you would always be within his grasp. He believed that even if he left, even if he hurt you, he could always come back and pick up where he left off. But now, the door that was once open has been shut, locked, and burned to the ground. And no matter how much he regrets, no matter how many times he looks back, he will never walk through it again. He watches you now, searching for the woman he once knew, but she no longer exists. The version of you that waited for him is gone. The version of you that questioned her worth has vanished. The version of you that once held on to hope for his return, she has been replaced by a woman who knows exactly who she is, exactly what she deserves, and exactly what she will never tolerate again. The pain of losing you will not come from your words. It will come from your silence. It will come from the way you no longer acknowledge his presence, the way you no longer react, the way you live so fully, so beautifully, that he feels the emptiness of his own choices like a hole in his chest. Because he had his chance, and he lost it. He will try to find you in others, but no matter how many faces he sees, no matter how many hands he holds, no one will ever compare to you. And that realization, that will haunt him for the rest of his life. But here's the truth, queens. You are not the woman who waits. You are not the woman who accepts being second choice. You are not the woman who lowers herself just so he can feel taller. You are a woman who rises. You are a woman who reigns. You are a woman who no longer seeks validation from a man who failed to see her worth. This is your moment, the moment you walk away from his regret and into your own power. The moment you build a life so incredible, so untouchable, that when he looks back, all he sees is a memory of the woman he once had, but can never have again. Queens, write this in the comments and claim it. He lost me forever. Let the world know that from this moment forward, you are done waiting, done proving, done settling. Because you were never meant to be an option, you were meant to be a masterpiece. And if this message awakened something inside you, if it reminded you of the power you have always had, like this video and subscribe. We are here, working hard to bring you the truth, the power, and the lessons that will set you free. Because queens, we do not wait to be chosen. We choose ourselves. Number 7. He realizes, too late, that you were irreplaceable. Have you ever watched a man throw away something precious, thinking it was just another ordinary thing? Have you ever seen him hold something rare in his hands, only to let it slip through his fingers, believing he could find it again? That's exactly what happened when he walked away from you. He thought he had time. He thought he could replace you. He thought love like yours was something he could find anywhere. But now reality is sinking in, and he realizes too late that you were irreplaceable. At first, he felt confident. He believed his choice was the right one. Maybe he thought the excitement of something new would last forever. Maybe he believed he could walk away and never look back. But time has a way of teaching lessons that words never could. And as the days turn into nights, as the moments without you become longer, as the silence settles in, he starts to feel it. The emptiness, the space you once filled, the warmth you once gave, the love that was once his. Now, it's gone. And no matter how much he tries to deny it, he knows he lost something that cannot be replaced. Seneca once said, "The greatest loss is not measured by what is taken away, but by what could have been, and that is the pain he now lives with. The pain of knowing that what he had with you was once in a lifetime, and he let it go. The pain of realizing that no one else will love him the way you did. The pain of looking at her and seeing everything that she isn't. He thought he could find another version of you. But women like you do not come twice. A woman with your depth, your heart, your loyalty. That is something a man only gets once. And the moment he let you go, he set a clock in motion. A clock counting down to the moment he wakes up, looks around, and realizes no one else can ever be you. Think of a man lost in the desert. He sees water in the distance, believes he has found salvation, runs towards it with everything he has. But when he reaches it, it's nothing but a mirage, an illusion, a trick of the mind. That is exactly what is happening to him now. He thought he had something better, thought he had found something more exciting, but now the illusion is fading. The thrill is wearing off, the reality is sinking in, and he is starting to see the truth. He left behind the only thing that was ever real. Right now, he is comparing. Right now, he is remembering. Right now, he is feeling the loss in his bones. He thought walking away was a victory, but now it feels like defeat. And no matter how much he tries to push it away, He can't escape the truth. He had a diamond and treated it like glass. He had a once-in-a-lifetime love and walked away as if he could find it again. But he won't, and that is the regret he will carry forever. But here's what you need to know. This isn't about him anymore. This isn't about whether he regrets it, whether he wants to come back, whether he finally sees your worth. Because a queen does not wait for a man to recognize what he should have cherished all along. A queen does not hold space for a man who was blind when he should have been grateful. Look in the mirror. That is not a woman who begs to be seen. That is not a woman who waits for an apology. That is not a woman who lets a man's mistake define her. That is power. That is transformation. That is a woman who has risen beyond his reach. He realizes too late, and that is his lesson to learn, not yours to carry, because you are not looking back. You are not waiting for his regret. You are stepping into a life so full, so radiant, so powerful, that when he finally understands what he lost, the only thing left for him to do is watch. Queens, write this in the comments and claim it. I was irreplaceable then, and I am untouchable now. Let the world know that you are done waiting, done hoping, done proving your worth to a man who should have never questioned it in the first place. And if this message lit something inside you, like this video and subscribe. Because we are here, working hard to bring you the truth, the strength, and the power you need. You were never meant to be forgotten. You were meant to reign. Number 8. He will beg, but you will already be gone. There will come a day when he looks for you, when he reaches for his phone, types out a message, and then hesitates, because suddenly he isn't sure if you will even answer. When he scrolls through old pictures, staring at the woman who once gave him everything, only to realize she is no longer his to have. He thought he could leave, thought he could replace you, thought time would erase the space you once filled in his life. But now he knows the truth. He took you for granted. He thought your love would always be there, waiting, unshaken, unquestioning. He believed that no matter what he did, you would always leave the door open for him. But the thing about doors, once they close, once they lock, there are no second chances. And now, the only thing left for him to do is beg, but you will already be gone. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." And that is exactly what is happening now. You are no longer the woman who explains, who waits, who hopes. You are no longer the woman who lowers herself, believing that his love was worth more than your dignity. You have changed. You have grown. And he is still the same man who walked away, the same man who thought he could replace you, until reality proved him wrong. Think of the rarest flower in a vast garden. It blooms once in a lifetime, offering its beauty, its fragrance, its warmth. A fool picks it too soon, thinking he can find another just like it. He walks away, believing the garden is full of replacements. But when he looks back, he realizes he did not just leave a flower behind. He left behind something priceless, something he will never find again. And when he finally understands what he lost, it will be too late. Right now, he might be putting on a show, acting as if he is happy, as if his life is better without you. But deep inside, the cracks are forming. The doubt is creeping in. He's looking at her, the one he chose, and realizing she does not love him the way you did. She does not understand him the way you did. She does not make him feel the way you did. She is not you, and she never will be. And that is the moment he will break. That is the moment he will remember the way you laughed, the way you touched his face, the way you stood by him when no one else did. He will hear your voice in the quiet moments, feel your absence in the spaces where you used to be. He will scroll through memories, searching for a way back, searching for something, anything, that will undo what has already been done. But there is nothing, because you have already moved forward. The most painful regret is not losing something. It is losing something you can never get back. And he will learn this lesson the hardest way possible. He will try to reach you, but you won't answer. He will try to find his way back into your life, but you will be too far ahead. He will finally understand what he had, what he lost, and what he can never have again. And that, queens, is the moment he will beg. But here's the truth. You no longer need his apology. You no longer need him to recognize your worth. Because now, you know your worth for yourself. You are not waiting for his regret, not waiting for his validation, not waiting for his love. You have become the woman who is no longer within his reach. Look in the mirror. That is not a woman who needs to be chosen. That is not a woman who needs to hear him say, "I made a mistake." That is a force. That is power. That is a woman who does not look back. And when he finally sees you again, when he finally realizes what he lost, he will fall to his knees in regret. But by then, you will already be gone. Queens, this is your moment. The moment you take back your power. The moment you stop waiting, stop proving, stop explaining. The moment you rise. He left, and now, nothing stands in your way. Write this in the comments and claim it. By the time he begs, I will already be gone. Let the world know that you are done waiting, done proving, done lowering yourself for a man who failed to see your worth. And if this message awakened something inside you, if it reminded you of the fire that has always been within you, like this video and subscribe. We are here, building an empire of unstoppable women and queens. We rise together.